What is up, Knucklehead Nation? We are live. I know you're probably like, who are you? What are you doing here? Where's George? Don't worry, George is okay. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tavia Tenpow. I recently commentated the inaugural Fighters Rep in South Florida, and George has been kind enough to give me a platform on his channel to do some interviews with some of the fighters to help him, kind of just keep up the buzz and keep up with all the fighters that we had. So that's why I'm here. And across from me on this lovely screen is Miss Alexsys Miranda, who was one of the fighters at Fighters Rep 21. She put on a stunning performance with her counterpart, Barbara Granadillo. And if you haven't seen that fight, you need to watch it. And the only way you can watch it is if you join the channel, and then you have access to the entire night of fights. You can hear my commentary along with Alexsys's fight of the night. And if you haven't, you need to do it because it's amazing. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Lexi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling great. How are you?
Good, good. Excited to kind of talk to you again about the fight, even though you and I have spoke, personally on the side about it, and I got your feedback. I can't wait for you to share with everyone else. So let's get into it. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I know you pretty well at this point. I pretty much know your whole story. You came from a karate background, a more traditional martial art, and you competed as an adolescent, teenager, and then you kind of came into young adulthood and found Muay Thai kickboxing, and you've been on a pretty strong uprising with that. I mean, I know COVID and a couple things in your personal life kind of have stalled your career in a sense, but you seem to have come back really strong. And I want to give you a chance to talk about your comeback because we know you're a new mom. You're also a full-time student, but for some reason, somehow left out this like vital part in your comeback. You had a pretty major hand injury that put you on the sidelines for a little bit. And, in the preview, in the fight, during the broadcast, and even in the recap, I just somehow didn't get to it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that this happened to you. And this is like a big part of your fight career because you need your hands. So I want to go ahead and give you a minute to like talk about your comeback to the ring. Tell us about that injury and like how that all went for you coming into this fight.
Absolutely. It was definitely very scary. A lot of people that approach me about the injury are like, "Oh, did you get it in a fight?" And I'm like, "Man, that would be a lot cooler. It would sound a lot cooler if I did." But no, I was in a car accident, and thankfully everybody was okay. I was okay for the most part, but I did suffer a pretty bad injury from it. I broke my hand, and I have metals and plates and screws in there, and of course, any injury, big or small, a lot of fighters think, man, when am I going to come back? When am I going to be on the mats again? Like, even if it's rolling your ankle or something really big as, breaking an actual bone, a body part. So that was the first thing I thought about, obviously, because you're like, of course, whatever, nothing else. When can I fight again? Oh my gosh, So as eager as I was, I know this was an injury that was super big and needed to be rested. Like you have no choice but to kind of sit back and to let it heal. And as impatient as I was, of course, I listened to the doctors, I listened to everybody. And I knew if I wanted to get back, I really needed to adhere to those protocols. So I did what I had to do. I stayed as active as I could. And when I was just about ready to kind of start coming back, I found out I was pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing. It's a blessing in disguise, So as I was giving my hand more time to heal, I was also, pregnant and still kind of coming to the gym too and hitting pads and doing what I can and staying as active as possible. It was really fun to still hit pads while being pregnant. And just the support from everybody too, obviously from the injury and being pregnant, everybody was very supportive with everything. And so I also had just some personal things to overcome as well. So I had a lot of, setbacks trying to get back. And all I kept thinking about like getting back into the ring. Like, I'm like, okay, here's a setback. What's the solution? How am I going to get back to the ring? How am I going to get back into training? Okay, another setback. How am I going to get back? How am I going to get back in the ring? How am I going to, come up with a game plan? So it had a lot of ups and downs. And it was really nice to, once I was, gave birth to my baby boy, and it was just nice and wholesome to come back to the gym and it's like I never left, you know, everybody was still acted the same. Everybody is so loving and giving towards me, not just me and my plus one now, you know? So just to have a community and have a family basically address me with open arms, it's rewarding. And I think that any parent, you know, you don't want to stop your life just because you have a kid. It's the hardest, especially for moms, you know. You're known for just taking care of your babies for so long, and you know, you kind of put your own goals and your own passions aside to take care of everyone else essentially besides you. So I'm so glad and thankful for Florida Kickboxing Academy and all the gyms, all the teammates that I train with that are so giving and so loving towards me and my baby, and just it gives me a chance to live the dream that I want to live and do the things I want to do. And you know, fighting for me is very personal as far as like personal growth, and just keeps me going as far as keeping me disciplined, keeping me respectful to people, keeping me just alive. Really, it makes me just feel so happy inside. So to have a just a great community behind me, it is indescribable, truthfully. And so yeah, no, getting back into it was just not easy though. So all those setbacks and, you know, little hills that I had to overcome was definitely hard. But I think what really helped me was just the people, staying patient, knowing that one day I will come back to the ring. Just take your time. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But I'm just so glad that George put on the show, and the timing was right, everything was right, and I was able to put on a performance like that. So
Yeah, you're definitely a competitor at heart. Like it just runs in your blood. You can see when you train alongside you. How long were you out total, do you think, from, you know, the hand injury to pregnancy to postpartum? Like how many years did you not compete for?
um my last competition was 2020, the end of 2020, December.
So
So
almost 4 years. I mean,
almost
yeah, because
years.
we're in 2020. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that. That's a long time. You look great. You look great. You showed up to weigh-ins ripped. I mean, we were all saying, "Oh my gosh, you had a baby 10 months ago." Like, no way. But I was there alongside your camp. I saw the hard work you put in. As soon as you pretty much were allowed to come back to working out, you know, after delivering a baby, you did, and you ran and you did your boxing, and yeah, I mean, you look phenomenal, even in better shape than before. So congratulations on that, seriously.
Thank you.
And then yeah, to talk about this fight that you just put on. So not only did you go through all that, you know, this long layoff, which is hard because I think ring rust is real. I mean, some people will debate it, but I do. I think there's ring rust. You know, it's a mental block. I think when you get in there after a layoff and you get hit, it kind of comes back really quickly. But that first round, and sometimes even that first fight after you come back off of a layoff, is hard. So I'm sure you can, you know, give us a little insight in that, because I kind of felt that in the first round with you. Like, I did not expect Barbara to come out the way she did. And I was like sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, like, Lexi, I know you can do this, but we got to see something because this girl is bringing it. You know, she was putting it on you. So how did you feel in that first round? Like when she came out just with that parade of punches and just kind of overwhelmed you? Was that, you know, take you a little time to kind of get back in it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, before anything, I want to shout out to Barbara for even taking the fight to begin with. You know, I had a lot to fight for going into here, and so did she. Losing a family member, especially somebody really important to her, she had no reason to take the fight, and I would have respected it if she did. So I'm just glad she did, and she gave me an opportunity to showcase my skills, and as for her as well. So shout out to Barbara. But yeah, going into that first round, like I knew she had a fire coming into, you know, had that drive going into this fight because of that. So she definitely came in very hot and heavy. And yeah, I agree with you. Ring rust is very real because that first round was definitely a tougher one for me. And I look back at it and watched it a few times, and it definitely looked a lot better than how I felt. I definitely felt like tossed around a little bit, but I think staying calm in the chaos is really key to things like that. And I capitalized it in the second and third round. Third round for sure was definitely my round, but the fight was very back and forth for most of it too. I mean, the first round she definitely dominated, but you know, the second was back and forth. The third was definitely mine. And so I think going in there after that first round, I sat down and listened to my corners, and I'm in my head like, Lexi, you better step it up. I was like, we're not playing anymore. This is a fight. We are here to fight. We're not here to mess around anymore. So you better get your ass in check,
Yeah.
So it was a wake up call. And I definitely I thrive when you put the pressure on me. That's the only way, you make diamonds, you put pressure, right? So with that pressure, it really woke me up and I'm like, okay, it drew the best out of me. So as much as I don't love being pressured, who knows how the fight would have gone if she didn't, right? Like as soon as she did, I was like, oh, I better step it up the rest of the rounds because I'm not going to win.
Yeah.
So, and that's what really drove me to really push and secure the win at the end. So it was definitely a lesson learned. And it was definitely, not my best I feel like it was not my best performance. Also going into this camp, I knew she was Southpaw. I've never fought a Southpaw opponent before. So it was not only my first fight back in 3-4 years, it was also a different stance, a different, kind of camp, different techniques, different things to prep for, which made it a little harder, but nothing crazy. So, but I like challenges. I said, pressure creates diamonds. So I think when you have those challenges, I like to work hard. I like to have the goals and I want to succeed. So it was really nice to have a good win back. And she was a tough opponent. And I think she was a great matchup for me.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned to George in our fighters recap of Fighters Rep 21, I was like, this is a potential rematch. Because to me, this has rematch written all over it. I think both of you guys, girls, would love to kind of maybe put more of a stamp on that fight, especially you, because I know this is your first fight back in a while. And I know you were planning some things, and you did. You were landing that high kick, which we'll get into in a second. But I also think Barbara, I said this, she's probably going to have a really great amateur career and a professional career if she wants. She obviously has the talent, the technique, the determination, kind of just depends how it all plays out. But yeah, this could potentially be a really good rematch in the future because you guys both put on a show. I mean, that was fight of the night across the board for Kyle and myself commentating. I think for the fans, you just felt the energy shift in the room. And yeah, so I would potentially label you guys as a rematch. And I think you both would come out maybe not as hot, but you would definitely be putting a little more pop behind everything. Cause I think both of you would want to, maybe solidify that, fight a little more. So I'll look forward to that in the future for sure. And speaking on your corner, you had Dia Davis in there, Asa, obviously, and then your fiance. What was kind of the vibe in there? Who was giving you the advice and how were they feeling after that first round? That was maybe not the round they wanted for you. What were they saying to you in that corner?
It was definitely, what's nice about having the corner that I have, the calmness. I know things get crazy, especially after you kind of basically lost a round, the first round. When I sat back down, I was like, whew, round one, we survived. We did it. And so listening to the corners, it was definitely a lot more calming. They weren't, oh my gosh, we got to step it up. They weren't screaming in my face, but they were like, all right, you survived, right? You did it. There's nothing to be scared of. That was the best she had, right? That was the best she had. She's probably going to gas out after this. So you need to turn it up kind of thing. And I like to, really try to listen as well as possible to my corner. And, Asa Tenpao telling me that head kick is there, that head kick is there. You need to double up. You need to, certain techniques that he wanted me to do. And, it's a little bit hard for me to try to find, when you're in there, it does get chaotic, but there were certain things that I know he was telling me to find that head kick. And that third round, I did find it twice. It did land twice. So I try my best to really listen to my corner because I know that they know best, but they kept it really calm for me. And in theory, it helped keep me calm as well and tune me in. I feel like I work best like that and they capitalized on that. So they're an amazing corner. They worked well together as well. And just the support of my fiance, I mean, just being there, I knew I was just in great hands. So it's no better feeling, truthfully.
Yeah, always good to have a supportive corner and very important to listen to that corner. And something we like to emphasize in the gym because you got to have trust. You got to have trust between the corner and the fighter. They're seeing things you might not see in all that action and all that, flurries going on and that adrenaline rushing. So it's good that you have a solid corner behind you. You could definitely tell as the fight progressed that you were listening, that whatever they were saying or whatever you guys were exchanging was working, because in that second round you came out really hot. I really liked the way you came out. I think you threw like a left body kick and then right hand right afterward, just like no hesitation, like pop pop, and it landed and it looked really good. And I was like, okay, she's awake, there she is, she's gonna come out with this round and she's gonna catch fire. And you did. That second round you picked it up. And that third round, I think, is what really stole the fight for you, because you could tell Barbara was getting tired, but she just didn't back off. And that's a hard person to fight because they just won't go away. So you have to keep pushing the pace, knowing that you want to win this fight, knowing you were kind of down around coming into the second and the third. So what was that third round like for you? Like, how were you feeling then? Were you getting tired? Could you feel that she was slowing down, or was it just like, go until this bell rings, I'm not stopping?
Yeah, I could definitely feel her getting tired, especially hearing the crowd too. I think the crowd's energy was really high. And I definitely, like most people, when you hear that crowd screaming, especially for you, you're like, oh, I got to do more. I got to do more. Like they're liking this. I'm winning. Or, I definitely like to hear that as well. So hearing that, I was like, okay, it's working. And then, as the round kept going, I just felt more things were connecting. And I was like, oh, do it again. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And I can, as tuned in as I was, there were certain points I did look over at Asa and he's like, more, more. And I'm like, okay, I got to do more, like, cause he's telling me to do more. So it was, I could tell that I was winning the fight for sure because of that. And I could feel Barbara's energy diminishing a little bit as well. She definitely still came back with things, but I just had a better answer after that was landing right where it needed to. So I definitely commend her as well for that, because she was not giving up. Like you said, she was still in the fight. She was still putting pressure. When I was putting more pressure, she was still trying to come back with something. But I definitely just capitalized on her being tired and just dominated. I just took over as much as I could. And I could definitely feel myself getting a little tired. It's the adrenaline definitely kicks in, and, it takes into consideration, like, you think all this training and all this stuff that you do just for a few rounds, and you're like, oh my gosh, how can I even be this tired? All this training I've done, right? But it's just all the mental stuff, the mental preparation, getting in there and just doing it. So it was exciting. I was so excited for that third round because I knew after it, I was like, oh, this went my way, like, for sure. So it was crazy. It was a crazy good round for me. So
Yeah. How did it feel to get your hand raised after all that time? I mean, almost 4 years out of the ring, a broken hand, surgery, recovery, rehab, baby, postpartum. Like, what was that feeling like for you? I know you were really emotional, but how do you feel now, like, looking back at that moment?
even when I watch it back, sometimes I still get emotional because it's like, it just really defines my character. It staples who I am as a person. This fight, like I said, fighting in general is never really about my opponent. It's just about me overcoming obstacles and never giving up and just being so resilient no matter what anybody or anything is thrown at me. It's just knowing that I said I was going to do something and I did it, whether the outcome was what I wanted or not. I went in there just being so grateful to be able to even do this again. I did not know I was ever going to do this again for a lot of reasons. And so I was, a lot of people came up to me, are you nervous? Are you nervous for the fight? And I was like, yeah, but like, I'm more excited. I am more excited than anything in the world. I get to do something martial arts. Something I've been doing since I was 6 years old. I'm so passionate about this. I love this so much. And I'm so grateful to just even do this again. So just all those feelings that I've had, and, of course you still have those feelings of doubt, a little insecurity, nervousness, all those things, just every feeling basically bottled up in one, just getting my hand raised. It just all poured out, like all the fruits of my labor, and not even just for the fight camp, but throughout the years of just fighting to come back into the ring. It's a lot harder than people think it is when you take a layoff and try to come back. It's like, it's mentally tough, physically, mentally, emotionally, it's all tough. And so it just felt, it all came together. And I can't even describe that feeling. And I don't know if I'll ever feel as truly as happy as I did in that moment, like, ever again. It was just like, man, I felt like a brand new person. I felt like reborn. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like a brand new person now. So that feeling is something I'll always remember for the rest of my life, forever.
Yeah, it was a great moment to witness and be a part of. Like I said, the energy in the room, you could absolutely feel it when you guys fought before, during, and after. It definitely stepped up the tone for the rest of the evening. And, again, unanimous fight of the night. So, quick shout out to George. George is on here watching our live interview. Again, thank you to the man for giving us this opportunity. He's done a great job so far with this brand and building it. He's got a great thing going on the West Coast, but now that he's here in South Florida, I'm happy. I know you're happy to be a part of it. So again, shout out to you, George. He said that fight was fire, and it was. Also, we got your hubby, soon to be hubby, on here with some little emoji action. What's up, Gabe? Thanks for supporting your girl and helping her through camp. And I know she got a little hangry at the end, but hey, it was all worth it. It was a great fight and a great win. So, yeah, to capitalize on that, what's next? Like, what are you looking like, down the line this year? I know you're busy with school and your family, but you have a great talent. We always say it, like, you're one of those who could definitely do this as a profession and career. But like, what do you see yourself doing as far as your amateur career for, the rest of 2024?
It's interesting because everyone's like, she's back. And of course I'm back for sure. However, this year is definitely a tricky year for me. I am a full-time student. I do have clinicals coming up and graduation and a lot of big things, getting my master's currently. And so because of that, I know things are going to change for me as far as my schedule and things around the gym, like how I'm going to get to the gym in certain times. Things are going to change a little bit for me, but that's okay. And I'm no stranger to hard work. I can figure it out. I know I can. But with that being said, of course, I have to think about my family as well. So I hopefully can try to get maybe 2, maybe 3 more fights by this year if I can. But I'm also not going to push it as heavy. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But all I know is that next year, I'll be done with school. I'll have a lot more free time. I'm going to make my own schedule. And next year is definitely going to be my year to shine. Like, I'm definitely going to be super active as I can be. This year is kind of like you said, like the coming back kind of era. And I want to take time to really just focus in on my training as well. Just like building my skill set, building my, reaction times, my timing. I've been off for a few years, and though this was a great fight, it did go in my favor and I did display some good techniques. I'm a perfectionist, and most fighters know that your craft is just never perfect. You always want to get better. So as much as I am eager to get back in there and I want to get back as soon as possible, I know good things takes time as well. And I've been patient for a long time. I'm okay with sitting and being patient again and still working hard, just putting my head down, working hard. And hopefully I can pick up a few fights this year, but I know next year is definitely going to be a great year for my fight career. So stay tuned, guys.
Well, I cannot wait. You're definitely one of those top female amateurs currently in the state, even if you don't take as many fights this year. I know everyone's going to be having a target on your back, and I can't wait to see you back in the Lions Den, hopefully on another Fighters Rep card. I know George has plans to put on some shows this year in South Florida, and we'd love to have you back on the card. Obviously, you were a draw, and, again, potential rematch, maybe even, who knows, they might start making belts for you guys. I don't know. I'm not giving you insider information, but I'm just saying, you're definitely one of those girls that, sets the bar and the tone for competition level, especially here on the East Coast. So, would love to see you back in Fighters Rep and call another one of your fights. And that's pretty much it. That's what I got for you tonight, Lexi. I also want to say a shout out. I think your brother's in here, Christian Miranda. Looks like he put a little goat emoji, which, we can back that up. And Denise Bravo, she gave you a heart and a little arm strength and some fire emoji. Because, again, you guys, if you have not gone and watched this fight, I'm telling you right now, as soon as we're done, you need to subscribe and you need to join this channel, because that's the only way you get access to all of the Fighters Rep previous cards and Fighters Rep 21 that just passed. Fight of the night, Lexi Miranda versus Barbara Granadillo. It was fight number 7. You can also hear my commentary on it and our thoughts. And yeah, you definitely need to check this out, because I'm telling you, I made this point in our recap. Sometimes you don't even see these type of fights in professional leagues. Like, this is the type of fight that it had so much passion behind it, and you can see it from both girls. So highly recommend you go and do that after you log off of this live interview with us and check that out. Other than that, Lexi, you got any last words for the people before we sign off here?
Nothing too crazy. Thank you so much, George, for just giving us an opportunity for us fighters, women for sure too, a chance to just showcase their skills, their hard work and dedication. It takes a lot going into these fights. Sacrificing family time, friend time, food, social gatherings. We do sacrifice a lot in the amateur days, and it means a lot that he wants to showcase that for us. So thank you, George, a lot. Thank you to my opponent. Thank you for you, Tavia, for interviewing all of us fighters and giving us a chance to just talk about our dreams. And it means a lot. And I'm very excited for the future. So thank you so much for interviewing me and taking the time for that.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see you back in the gym this week. I got to get in there too and start training. You inspired me. I got to get back in shape. I want to look like Alexsys Miranda come, a few months from now. So you got to hold me to that. But all right, Lexi, thank you so much. Again, George, thanks for the opportunity. And we hope to have you back in FightersRep soon.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.